to Power 97.5 LA, iHeartRadio, iGlobal Media. Wow, is all I'm about to say. You know, I think of so many things in this moment. In this episode, I titled it Truth, Transformation, and the Power of Embodied Storytelling. And I want to welcome everyone back to the Jameer Smith Show, the JS Journals. Today, we are stepping into the world of an artist whose work not only commands the stage, but it reaches into all of our spirits. You, I, all of us have seen him originate some beautiful roles across New York stages and here in LA, and also bringing so much depth to his characters on television, on film, and embodying so many voices that have carried stories really beyond the screens. I'm going to embarrass him right now, and I love every moment of this right now. So, he is a Lucille Laurel Award winner and Outer Critics Circle Awards winner, Drama Desk recognized, a classically trained, a beast who brings emotional truth to every inch of the stage. Currently, I had the opportunity to see his absolutely phenomenal performance here in Los Angeles at Table 17 at the Geffen Theater. And it was a production that I highlight and I say it blends grief, humor, memory, and the messiness of being a human being. Everyone, welcome. Michael Rishawn is in the building.
Yo, Jameer, I gotta keep you in my back pocket, man. Cause like that intro, Jesus, thank you. Thank you for
I'm
having
just
me.
saying.
Thank you.
Well, no, and I think, you know, when you think of just all of the things that you have done, the things that you are doing, and the things that you have are just going to do, I think is phenomenal. And when I was able to, I had one of the front tables, and so many of my friends were like, "Wait, where did you sit?" And I was like, "I was right in the front," and I was really able to witness greatness. Right? I know both of the other leads that were in the show, and to see you not to always say you took the show, but you did. You had that memorable experience that we all remember from Table 17 and all of your previous works. Before we get started,
Mhm.
I always like to ask this question. As the year is ending and we just celebrated Thanksgiving, happy belated Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Happy Turkey
Lots to be
Day.
thankful for.
A lot to be thankful for. I want to start with what are you thankful for, but what are you happy about this year that you've been able to accomplish?
Mm, my God, Jesus. This year in particular, I would say over the last 21 months, because this last year has been a culmination of where I feel like a lot of I'm in a chapter of my life where everything that I have trained for, everything that I've prepped for, I've prepared for, everything that I've lived through is actually really starting to converge in real time.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm like witnessing like when preparation meets opportunity
Yeah.
and both fully merge, and when you're like really, really ready for the moment, um, you're like witnessing your life changing and shifting and the transformation happening in real time. So I would say that I'm really grateful for transformation.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I've have finally like made it to a place where I'm so happy that I didn't say no and I didn't give up on myself.
Hmm.
Because it has been really sweet, the
Yeah.
fruit that has come out of the toiling and the maturation is hard, like growing is
Yeah.
hard, but
It is.
when you get to a place where you're able to reap the harvest, it is so sweet.
Well, listen, you said something that I thought was admirable, and I have said this to a lot of mentees most recently in panels that I've been on, is make sure that you're ready. Because to your
Mm,
point, right, we can prepare, we can create all of these grand, beautiful moments for ourselves. But if we're not preparing for those moments, whenever the universe or whoever we pray to provides you that experience and that prayer that you've wanted and you've thought of, and it finally happens, and you're not ready for it, then you're not ready for it. But
yeah.
you have been ready for it, and I want to start by going back. I curated the Jameer Smith Show in 2020 for as a platform for all of us to just tell our stories. It was just for creatives, and now 300 episodes in, God, 302 episodes in, you make the 302nd episode.
Okay, congrats,
The
bro. That's a
beautiful.
lot of episodes.
I've been talking a whole lot. But with that being said, I wanted to provide a platform for all of us to tell our stories, and it has blossomed from celebrities to writers and directors and artists and creatives. That's really the purpose of the show. For you, though, I think about the trainings and the journey that you have experienced and the roots in the discipline. Growing up in an Air Force family,
Mm.
it means constant shifting and adapting and really restarting, which I love the word restarting. But for you, though, how did that shape the emotional muscles you bring into the work today?
Oh my gosh. It's been essential. It's an essential part of me that I didn't really lead with it when, like, when people are like, "Oh, hi, where are you from?" And they're as a way of connection.
Mm-hmm.
When I would tell people, "Oh, I'm from Guam. I was raised in the Philippines," they look at me like I had like
You like say
80
what?
heads, right?
Right, right,
Right.
right.
But I think like growing up in an Air Force family, truly reinvention was a part of my everyday life.
Mm,
Because of we were always moving, always starting over. As a kid, you don't really realize it, but you're actually building emotional endurance
absolutely.
with every single move. And you're learning how to read rooms quickly, you're learning how to adapt, how to shift, how to change, how to find belonging in unfamiliar places. And
Yeah.
really, you're kind of becoming a chameleon in a
Mm,
way. And I think as an actor, I pull from that constantly because that shifting in that change and that rootlessness gave me range that I
yeah,
constantly play
yeah,
with.
yeah.
It taught me how to find my center no matter where I am in the world or this country, and whether it's on stage, on a set, or in a new character's skin. I think that it's developed a lot of empathy for
Mm,
me. Because when you've lived everywhere, you can really play anyone in
you
a way.
can. Well,
Yeah.
listen, this is exactly what you did in Table 17. For the people, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but for the people, there were people behind me like, is that the same person? I was, in my mind, I'm like, no, girl, that's like another man. And I'm just like to think of just range and character development and just all of the things that you have done just in that particular project. And you've done this project, but also to master this here in LA. I just want to give you credit from the conversations that I had with people that even attended. You did amazing,
Thank you, Jameer. Thank you.
phenomenal. But you also have a lot of things that coincide with my life. I used to live in DC, and one of the theaters that I absolutely loved was the Shakespeare Theater. And you did an apprenticeship program with Michael Kahn, one of the most rigorous in the country, right?
Yeah.
What did that space kind of teach you about discipline, vulnerability, but then also an actor's really full responsibility?
Yeah. So when I had finished drama school, I went to conservatory 4-year program in the Hart School in Connecticut,
Yeah.
and I had had my eyes on this program where he basically takes 8 apprentices, basically kids who are coming out of drama school. It's
Mhm.
like maybe anywhere from like 1,600 to like 2,000 people applying every year for their season, and he takes 8 people. And um, during that time, you're basically in residency where you are working underneath professional actors who are in repertory,
Yeah.
working in TV, film, theater. But it kind of was like a 5th year of school for me. It was like sort
Mm,
of like a gap year
okay.
almost.
Yeah.
And so Michael Kahn is like old school. He's like, he used to be the
Yeah.
head of Juilliard.
Right.
Like, bro don't play
At
when it
all.
comes
At
to
all.
the
Yeah.
classics. Like he is really rigorous
Yeah.
in the doing of the craft in this particular medium. And I think working under him, the main thing that I got was from him was that he stripped away my ego in the work.
Mm,
He strips away the actor's ego truly. Like because you're working with classics, not only Shakespeare, but you're also working with text written by Marlowe, your text written by Corneille. Like you're working with Shaw and like all of
Mhm.
these like
Mhm.
very elevated texts. Um, when you're working in that way with this material, it demands a level of transparency that you really can't fake.
Yeah.
Um, and he taught us breath, he taught us technique, he taught us emotional truth, that all of that has to line up or
Yeah.
the text will reject you.
Yeah.
Um, when it comes to vulnerability, he also taught me like vulnerability is not softness, it's precision.
Ooh.
Um, and I, I mean in terms of like it's a responsibility of telling the truth with no mask.
Yeah.
That's what acting is. Like we're creating human behavior, but the goal is to say, actually, look at this,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, to tell the truth with no mask, no apology. And he drilled that into me as an actor. That acting, being an actor, it's not a vibe, it's not a mood, it's not an aesthetic, it's a
Mhm.
discipline.
Mhm.
And that apprenticeship is where I really learned how to hold myself to a much higher standard, I think
Yeah.
just as a working professional, is really like at the root of everything that you gotta tell the truth in everything.
Mhm.
Because if you're telling the truth, you can really work in every medium.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's really what it's about. That's what people see, and that's what makes things really watchable.
Well, and I also want to give you your flowers and your credit. I mean, let's not discredit this MFA. You received the MFA at US San Diego or UC
Yes.
San Diego. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
UCSD,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think the beauty around that is you showed people really education matters because I think there's so many actors and so many people that feel like I can just jump right into this thing, right? And this thing meaning any creative field without actually having the education and to your point, the apprenticeships and the mentorships and the people around us kind of giving us those nuggets to want to dream and do better, but also to break us down because I think there's those times that we think I don't need anybody. I know what I'm doing, whatever. But then also, it humbles you in a way to say, guess what? There were so many other things I was supposed to learn in this moment, and you were able to accomplish that. How did those periods, let's say that specific period of time of earning your MFA, kind of sharpen your voice?
Oh my gosh, you made me think about I saw something with Michael Ealy on Instagram,
Yeah.
and he was in an interview talking about how he was like, I didn't skip steps.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
played a co-star, I played a guest star, I played a recurring, I
Yep.
played series regular. Like he really did not. He went through the system. And in a way, I feel like there are certain actors that there's this old adage, it's like in order to really master something, you have to put in your 10,000 hours.
Mm.
And and I think with acting, it's like just because you didn't go to a conservatory, sometimes you can go to studio and you can
Yeah.
train that way.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can work with someone very specific who is a master in their craft and you can learn in that capacity. But I do think like there's no one shoe fits all, right? But I
Right.
do think training is so essential to doing any type of artistic pursuit.
Absolutely.
And you should be putting in your hours because eventually that preparation will meet that
It
opportunity
will.
and it'll just converge, right?
It'll be a
And
beautiful marriage. Absolutely.
yes, your entire instrument will be ready because it
Mhm.
knows because it's been worked on
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think education, my mother is a person who instilled that within me at a very young age. She's
She's like,
like,
"Look here." Yeah. She's like,
you
hey,
either going into the service or you're going to go to college.
right.
Either way, you're going to go get your education because it's going to serve you much further along the line, down the line than you could ever really know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Shout out to your parents for that. And I think those are the things that we do love about our parents as much as I had this conversation during Thanksgiving the other day about the lessons that our parents teach us. And then as we get older, we're like, so that's what they meant. Okay, got it. Now it makes full
Totally.
sense. But I think, you've said things in your past conversations that you're drawn to roles with emotional truth
Mhm.
at the center. And I think there was a lot of truth at the center of really Table 17 and a lot of the other roles that you've been a part of. Where did that commitment to truth kind of begin?
Well, I think, I mean, Mm, that's a good question because I was not planning to be an actor. I kind of fell
Okay.
into it by
Okay.
accident.
Okay.
Um, it happened in high school, and I was invited to audition for this one act play. And the only reason I went w was because it conflicted with like my soccer scrimmage. Soccer was my life. It was my identity for a very long time. And it was actually soccer was the only thing that was sort of really constant for me as I was like moving around all over the place with my
Okay.
family.
Okay.
And I remember when I stepped on stage and I like did this audition, had no clue what I was doing, but I remember there was whatever I was doing, I was affecting the people watching.
Mm.
And I wasn't thinking about,
Yeah, you were just being you. Yeah.
yeah, I had no filter, right? So that's when the shift happened. Everything got like really quiet for me, and I felt this spark. And it was probably when I felt most alive and also fully myself in that same moment.
Okay.
So that audition really changed my life. And I think like if I had if I'd gone to the scrimmage, I would have missed the thing that was calling me. Like
Hmm.
acting didn't really feel like a choice after that. It felt like something that chose me in a way.
This was the assignment. Yep.
Yes. And that is a through line that I've always kept. I mean, and obviously Michael instilling that in us, but it's really about the truth. It's really always at the bare bones. It's the most core, the most like that that mustard seed, that pinpoint of like what
Mhm.
is the most deepest truth for that person. And once you know what that is, that's the linchpin of where
That's
you work from.
yeah. Yeah. I always tell people that as far as figuring out that through line, but also understanding like what is your goal? How do you make that goal happen? And then there's so many other ways for you to kind of hit that goal. But make sure you understand that goal and you make it happen. But I think to your point is the assignment was written for you, right? It was meant for you to miss that scrimmage game because the universe was preparing you for that next space and that next level of we've been able to be blessed with and see you kind of do. Besides Michael, who were some of the early artistic influences, right? We talked about Felicia Rashad earlier. Um,
Yes.
but shout out to Felicia Rashad and Debbie Allen, who I got to meet last week before last, congratulating her on her Oscar. But
Mm.
also, family, mentors, actors. Who kind of first showed you that storytelling was a calling and it was not just a craft?
Uh, um, well, my mom for sure. My mom, when I told her that I wanted to act after that moment that I had,
She said that they
she
what?
was
Right.
exactly that. She wasn't having it.
Right, right.
But I was like, no, mom, I think I really can do this. I got something. And then she came and saw me in a few things and then I was like, I want to go to school for this. And she was like, Michael, baby.
Like as a parent says, go ahead.
It's gonna be hard. And you know, there was a little projection there,
Yeah.
but when I really like when finally came around, she was like, okay, if you're gonna do this, you're gonna apply to the best schools. So like my mother like had done
She
her
said, if we're gonna do
research.
it, we're gonna do it. Yeah.
Right. She was like, you're gonna apply to Juilliard, you're gonna apply to Carnegie Mellon, you're gonna apply to these like sort of top prestigious schools for drama at the time. And I remember being like, Mom, I'm not gonna get into those places. Like, I'm 17 at this point with no training. There's no way. Inevitably I did not apply to those schools. I got into the school that I was supposed to.
Okay.
But she she was just like really she was once she was on board with me, she was a major proponent of like what are the benchmarks?
Yeah.
She like helped me to understand structure within a very unstructured profession.
Yeah.
I also think, you know, my mentor is Coleman Domingo, and like
Yeah.
Coleman gave me one of my first jobs when I moved to New York at like
Home is amazing.
21.
Home is amazing, by the way.
Oh my gosh. And like he's my blueprint, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't exist and I think be able to do some of the things that I've been able to do without him paving the way.
Mhm.
And even before him, like there are people that have paved the way for him. So I'm in a very specific line, a lineage of people, I feel.
Yeah.
And he has always just been guiding me and like even when he has major moments where like life is pulling him in very specific directions and he's got a lot that he's holding, I'm learning by watching. Um, and I go to him and I ask him like, hey, I'm dealing with this. I don't know how to navigate this. And he's always there to just offer
Hmm.
guidance and wisdom for me. I think actor wise, like Keith Randolph Smith is
Oh
an old
wow.
school
Yeah.
OG.
Shout out to Keith.
Keith Randolph Smith. I would also say, man, oh man, you put me on the spot.
This is what we do. I love it.
It's mostly stage actors. Like
Oh,
I remember I went and saw James Earl Jones and Vanessa Redgrave in
wow.
Driving Miss Daisy on Broadway. And I
Wow.
was like, I like skipped school and took the mega bus down to New York City and watched these two people, these two humans play tennis on stage.
I mean,
And I was like in the nosebleeds and I was just like,
as long as you're in the building.
oh my God. Like, and I
Yeah.
just watching them like do the thing, I was like, this is what it is. This is
Mhm.
actually what we're training for, what people talk about in terms of just like being able to fully embody storytelling and craft. Um, Watching Cicely Tyson, I was in the first row when she did Trip to Bountiful on
Wow.
Broadway, and
Wow.
watching her like was just, man,
Well,
those
listen.
are the people that I aspire to be like.
Well, talk about aspirations, though. I was in the front row seeing this table 17. And I think of just your phenomenal performance that I constantly talk about, but really at the Geffen, and we spoke about the grief, the comedy, and the humanity around it. Because I saw the show, and
Mhm.
you own that stage. A huge shout out to Douglas Lyons, who wrote something absolutely beautiful
Yes.
that is both heartbreaking and hilarious, and the chemistry between the cast, I think, is undeniable. When you first read the script for Table 17, what hit your gut? Like, whoa, this is it.
I mean, I think when at first he was like, all three, Michael, that's what this track is. And I think I was like, oh man, this is going to be such an opportunity. I don't want to say challenge, but an opportunity to really um shapeshift, be versatile, but also just be like super porous and
Mm-hmm.
delve into the work of
Yeah.
these three people that are on the page. I think I read the script and I really felt the one word that comes to mind is presence.
Wow. Okay.
Um how present I think the three of us have to be, but if I'm going to speak in my for my track, like for me, the balance and it really came from there's such a presence in the writing. You know, Table 17 is a play where grief and humor uh, are not opposites, but they're neighbors in a way.
Yeah,
And the play lives in a space where people can laugh while they're breaking and they can break while they're laughing.
absolutely.
And in the doing of this play, particularly from River's standpoint, um, there were some nights the grief led, some nights the humor did,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized that the human
Because
heart.
really quick, I want to pause you. You know what I
Mhm.
realized? Because I want you to live in that moment that you're speaking of right now. I don't know if people, and I hated that I just interrupted you, but I just immediately thought about this. When you had the grief on stage of I always think of the Monique scene from Precious, or Who's Gonna Love
Okay.
Me? And
Yes.
you cried on stage, but nobody talked about that. And I looked over and I
Mhm.
was like, this dude is like, this is serious. This man is crying. He done shed a tear. You know, but I think also it's a story and it's a conversation that a lot of us have, men, women, gay, straight, black, white, everyone has around the idea of wanting to feel wanted, wanting to feel like I'm have a date or I'm getting stood up or whatever. And you showed that emotion on that stage, right? But go ahead. I just want to say thank you for showing that emotion because that emotion was something that me personally I've experienced, right? Because even as successful as you may get, you still want to feel loved. You
Of
always want to have
course.
someone, you know, with you that you can talk about your day and spend the time with. But also, I think that's the beauty. I think, and it's not overshadowed, but your comedic piece felt like overshadowed that beautiful moment that I saw on stage. And I was like, damn, y'all don't see the man crying? Lord, y'all just see it. Y'all laughing at him. The man is crying.
Oh my gosh.
Go ahead. I'm
Like
sorry. Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I remember there is a point in River's speech where he's like, I wonder if Dallas left his fiance for his
Mhm.
ex-fiance. And even when River has the admission of like, I wonder if I'll ever experience that type of love that I just witnessed with these two people. There have been moments in the play when we've done it and River is breaking apart. River's truly at his most vulnerable. And the audience would be laughing. And this speaks to that thing of like where grief and humor are being held at the same time. At least I'm holding both, right? And I
You
would at
are.
first I'd be so protective of River and being like, babe, I'm sorry, but like this is so not okay. But also over time I started to realize I'm like, oh, like both of these things are existing at the same time in the same space, and both are
Mhm.
true, right?
Yep.
The human heart can actually hold both.
Yeah.
And the more that I leaned into that, the more that I realized that really River is a mirror for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Um, and in the play, the three people I'm playing inevitably are ones who are not chosen.
Mm.
Um, the lovers
Yeah.
choose each other even in the mess of their stuff.
Uh-huh.
But my three people are actually not chosen.
There.
River, Eric, and Mason, the bartender.
Yeah.
You know, River is a hopeful romantic. Eric is maybe an avoidant, and Mason is just really, really young and like
He
here
was
for the
just out for a
party.
good time. Right. He was like,
Right.
let's go get drunk and have a good time. What we doing?
It's this play has really made me examine what it means to not be chosen, right? Um, and like River and Eric being two sides of the same coin, contrasting with the lovers in the play, the question becomes like when someone doesn't choose you, who does? And so if someone is not choosing you, the answer is always you. You got to choose you. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that is something that's very universal. Anyone who is loved or lost or hasn't found their person who they want to create that type of relationship with or build something with knows that ache, that
Yeah.
pain of not being chosen. And it made me look at the places where I had abandoned myself, the places where I've had to choose myself over and over and over again.
Mhm.
Um, and River and Eric both allowed me to experience a strength that I didn't know that I had within myself, right? So
Mhm.
that is I think that's a mirror for a lot of people who are self-partnered, I would say,
Yeah.
in their journey of love and stuff.
No, very true. And I think to your point, it was a moment that I felt needed a moment, but it was again overshadowed. And overshadowed is the wrong word, but overshadowed with comedy, right? It was right beside the idea of I'm still a very comedic person. I can laugh off all of these things, but in the inside, I'm crying a little bit. I
Hmm.
want to feel love, right? But the Geffen audience, I can say, was right there with you from beginning to end. And I think breathing with you throughout this beautiful work was amazing because I mean to have the audience even be a part. I mean, you guys started the show off. All right, so we gonna want y'all to be a part of this. And you know, it's a little sketchy when you got certain people. You like, you sure y'all want this audience? Y'all want them to? But
Totally.
how did performing this work here in LA for this community affect the way you kind of approach the character?
Well, we're in a much bigger space.
You are, yeah.
When we were off Broadway at MCC in New York,
Hmm.
shout out to Bernie Telsey and Will Cantler,
Yeah.
who helped shepherd the piece. We were like in a black box. So the audience was about 110 people.
Oh
It was
wow.
extremely intimate. And now we've transitioned to the Geffen with Terrell and Gil
That's,
Cates. And now we're playing to like 600 people, right?
mhm.
And this just the sheer space, the magnitude of the space has changed the storytelling.
Yeah.
So we have to meet the medium. And I think in terms of like, there were scenic changes, there were costume changes, of course. We added River's heels to the Geffen production. But really, I guess I go back to like, even with those changes, you still got to play the truth. You
Yeah,
still got to play the truth because if you're playing that, then
it will.
that'll reach the people, and then,
Mm.
we have to find ways to reach out to them with that space, but also how to bring the play to them as well. And I think we succeeded. I think
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, I think also there's a spiritual weight though in Table 17. Um,
Mhm.
and it's kind of like that undercurrent of what we hold onto and what we have to let go. For you, and I know you just spoke about it a little bit, but did the role ask something from you personally around those two roles, major roles that you had to play? So when you just,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think River sat really close to the surface.
okay.
Um, River asked me to really be raw,
Mm,
to be an open channel.
okay.
Um, Eric the same. I think like going back to the what it means to not be chosen by another, that's a really deep pain for a lot of people.
Is
Um, it's universal, but I think like I had to get out the way like every night, and after a while, like there is a Michael has to like take care of himself energetically, physically, emotionally, mentally. Like I sometimes I can't take River home with me every night. I have to roll in and roll out, and there are various ways to do that, but River really like required me to be really like transparent.
I always hear that a lot from a lot of actors, even people that we've had on the show, on how hard it is to be able to break away from the character because you're so bought into it. And as you have eloquently said, even your mantra, and I'm gonna coin this for you, is truth. It's because you do speak so much truth into these characters that you have played, but specifically, um, I feel like it is hard because you really do dedicate a lot to this. If you guys are just joining us, I'm so excited because we have Michael Rishawn on the show. And, I think of your body of work
Mm.
and from film and television, and you have something that we're just going to keep with this word of truth, of that you bring so much truth to the camera. You've created a lot of magic on stage, but your screen work is kind of equally powerful, right? You've appeared in FBI Most Wanted. You've appeared in
Mhm.
Bunked, um, just like that, in Raising Dion, Survival of the Thickest, Crutch, and so many more. What changes really, Michael, in your process when you move from the stage, right? I probably know this answer because I've heard so many people that have said this, but also when you think about that question, where is kind of everything expansive, right? When you think of to film to television, where the camera kind of catches really the smallest truth.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, so stage versus screen for me is like stage requires architecture. Your
Yeah,
breath, your voice, your body has to fill the space, right? It's the actor's playground. It's actually the actor's medium.
yeah.
Whereas with screen requires surrender.
Mm,
Um, the camera catches the thought before the expression,
wow.
right? So like in terms of shifting between those two mediums, um, and if we're going to talk about truth, right? Um, Instead of projecting truth in the theater, and when I say project truth, you're still playing truth, but
Yeah,
it's very external, right?
yeah, right.
You're projecting truth versus revealing truth on screen.
Beautiful. Okay.
Um, on stage, I'm like painting with much bigger strokes because I got
Okay.
to fill the space.
I was
But
going to say the back of the stage. Yeah.
yes, but
Okay.
with screen, In TV, I'm painting with like a really fine brush, a
Yeah.
scalpel almost. Like
Okay.
it's the core is the same. Be truthful in this in from moment to moment, but in
Mhm.
terms of like the scale, I think. Um, with TV and film, precisely, it's like, thinking your character's thoughts before you're actually speaking.
Yeah.
And like Leslie Kahn gave that to me, who's not related to Michael Kahn. She like really like transformed my process in terms of how I approach TV and film because sometimes it can feel disconnected for theater actors to
Yeah.
transition into that.
Mhm.
Um, but that's what I use is like thinking my character's thoughts. And once I'm like really thinking my character's thoughts,
Okay.
my work just changes automatically.
Well, I mean, listen, in roles like Survival of the Thickest and just like that, when you think of just your spaces that you've done, what parts of yourself did you kind of bring to those characters?
Yeah, I mean, for better or worse, and excuse my French, but the bartender in Table 17 and the role that I played in Survival opposite Michelle,
Yeah,
they're in the same wheelhouse, the same
they are in
family.
the same household.
For better or worse, they are a little like fucky. They're little just fuck boys in a
They
way.
are. They are.
Um, and I
There wasn't a lot of range in that one. It was like,
um
I'm just gonna duplicate this one and take this. I appreciate it. No, go
I mean,
ahead.
I go back to just like finding the truth and like like understanding style, understanding tone. Doesn't matter what you're auditioning for or what you're
Yeah.
playing. Like with TV, there's so many different types of shows and tones within those shows. And so once you know that stuff,
Hmm.
then you can know how to surf in that world.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know if that answers your question, but
No, it does. No, it does. Well, and I want to get into a question really quick. This comes from Brittany. Brittany is out of Brooklyn, New York. She says, and of course, the people heard that you were going to be on the show, so we started taking questions even at the Table 17 premiere.
oh, okay.
Also, this question comes from Brittany. She says, "You've appeared in projects produced by incredible directors and showrunners. What is the best piece of direction you've ever received on set?"
Well, okay. So I'll go back to for sure Leslie Kahn when she was
Mhm.
like, think your character's thoughts. That really helped me transition into TV film land with a theater background.
Okay.
Um, my theater professors were not teaching me that.
Okay.
I think also Tasha Smith directed me in Survival.
People have to stop sleeping on Tasha Smith. When I tell you,
Period.
listen, her and her sister, I just had a conversation with her sister a couple of weeks ago. When I tell you those two ladies, but Tasha, go ahead. Jesus.
I have watched Miss Smith,
Miss Smith.
right, as a kid, man, and like to meet her in the flesh, to
Yeah,
work with her, to be directed
yeah.
by her, was such a blessing and such a gift. Like,
She's
yo,
phenomenal.
Tasha is like she is truly an actor's director.
Absolutely.
She told me multiple times because I was like, well, I'm like working with Tasha, I'm working with Michelle, who I was watching Michelle's comedy
A
specials and
comedy
being like,
special,
who is
right?
this woman? She's so funny. And like to then be working with the two of them is like, I remember Tasha told me she was like, don't perform the moment, experience it.
Ooh,
And I take that with me um
ooh.
into everything now, specifically with TV and film. Um that note changed everything for me because the camera actually doesn't want choreography, it wants humanity. And in order to be like human, you can't be thinking about what you're
No.
doing,
Mm-mm.
right? So when I stopped trying to get it right and just like showed up and lived truthfully, that's when the scene opened up for me.
Hmm. Well, this is the thing. You have an amazing voice. I mean, in many different multitudes of things, but your versatility is wild. And I think of just the audiobook narration to WWE 2K22, your performance,
Mhm.
the capture, commercial campaigns, Carnegie Hall. It's like you're moving through so many different mediums and spaces and places that your language is just so fluent that we love to hear it. When you step into voice acting,
Mhm.
A lot of voice actors that have reached out because I have two questions from them that they wanted to ask you, especially audiobook narration.
Yeah.
What muscles do you rely on that really you don't use on stage?
Yeah. I mean, with audiobooks, that type of work forces you to become the entire cast by yourself.
Right? Yeah.
So you're incorporating voice work with the different people you're narrating for. You're incorporating text analysis, just being able to understand the writer's voice.
Mm.
Um, every voice, every rhythm, every emotional turn in the book. Because mind you, people are listening, right?
Yep.
So auditorily speaking, you got to be the entire cast. You have to
You
do all of
do?
the work,
Yeah,
right? Because uh eventually like people are going to tune out. So it has to be so specific,
absolutely.
and so layered, so nuanced, so detailed. Um, with performance capture, you put on the suit and you have the helmet and everything, and in that world, it strips away everything. You have no costume, no set. You might be with your fellow actors, but you've got the tech guys telling you what the situation is in real
Hmm.
time,
Hmm.
and we're just in a sound studio, and we have to like make it
Make it
work.
work, right?
So you're like using your imagination and truth, and so I think with both of those mediums, they sharpen muscles that you don't always get to use in TV and film and theater, but they make you a more precise, more imaginative storyteller,
Yeah.
um, because of what the medium is asking of you. Like you really have to do so much world building,
Hmm.
um, particularly for those two mediums.
Nick out of Compton says, as a classically trained actor, how do you keep your instrument, your voice, your body? Which, guys, if y'all have not seen Table 17, he has an amazing body. I thought that I was working out looking good. I was like,
You're
I
too
got
kind.
I got to keep doing my green juices, y'all. But again, as a classically trained actor, how do you keep your instrument, right? Your voice, your body, your emotional center, ready for the demands of the screen of acting?
Mm. I stay grounded by staying connected to purpose,
Mm,
both in and out of the work.
okay.
Um, with acting, I feel like, you got to go live,
Yeah.
in order to understand human behavior, and you also got to go live so that you have actually something to say in your work.
Yeah.
Um, for me, it's about chasing alignment, even
Mm,
when obviously you're constantly auditioning, but I do feel like certain roles find you, and also certain roles, um, when you're really free, when you've really done the work
yeah.
and you don't need it, that's when the role comes in.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of in terms of like alignment, I stay close to ritual for me, so that includes like meditation, breath work, stillness, gratitude. My mother's voice is a really big anchor for me. She passed when I was like back in 2012, but she has been walking my path with me. And every single job and opportunity I feel that has come in for me, I feel like has had her fingerprint on it.
It has.
Um, and feeling her presence, knowing that she's with me every step of the way is something that helps me feel centered.
Hmm.
But I think in terms of taking care of my instrument, obviously working out, but also working out the mind, meditating, and like making sure that you're taking care of your mental health.
Hmm.
Because without your health, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
So staying in purpose, staying in alignment, that's how I take care of my instrument. Yeah.
Thinking of your mom, because we're getting ready to wrap our show.
Yeah.
When you think of all of the things that she wanted to do in her life, do you think that she was able to fulfill all of her dreams?
I would say no, actually. And I think this speaks to the the selflessness of Black women,
Yeah.
particularly single Black moms, and not necessarily single Black moms, but just Black women in general. I think my mother was a God-fearing woman who really instilled in me uh, just faith and belief in self, faith in God,
Hmm.
um, education.
Yeah.
Um, making right financial decisions and just being a like good person with integrity.
Yeah.
Um, and I unfortunately I don't think that she materialized maybe everything that she wanted to because I think I was her world. Uh,
And you still
and
are. And you still are.
yeah, and I know that I've made her proud. There are obviously there's a hell of a lot of things that I would have loved to have shared with her if she was still here, but um, yeah, she was so selfless for me, and I really credit everything to her. I really credit everything to her. So yeah, I literally wouldn't be here without her. Um, so yeah,
The beauty around the ones we love, they're always with us, right? All the auditions that you go to, everything, the emotions that's in your eyes right now, that's her.
yeah,
That's in your heart, all of the things. And I always love to credit the people that came before us and the shoulders that we stand on. Um, to switch it up a little bit, as we
yeah.
end our show, I remember in 2020, when I curated the show, I changed the ending called the therapy session. And I know it
Okay.
went heavy. Now would it go even heavier, right? It was like, Lord, Jameer, is that what we're doing? So I'll start with this. Michael, how do you define success?
I define success as are you materializing your dreams?
Mm,
Are you living your dreams for real, for real?
yeah.
And only you can know that.
Mhm. What's one thing you're willing or unwilling, I'm sorry, to compromise on?
My faith and but my belief in God, my intuition, my intuition. Yeah.
What is something you wish more people understood about you?
How much I deeply care about people, deeply.
I can tell you have a big heart. You spoke about this earlier, but what is a motto that has changed the way you approach life?
What do you mean by that?
So for me, I'll give an example. My father and my parents are still living, but my dad said something when I was younger. He said, just keep on living. And I was like, am I dying tomorrow? Like, what are you talking about? And the keep on living meant that I had to keep living to experience life, the ups, the downs, the ebbs and the flows. And so that is something, it was a model that I used to continue to be intentional with the way that
Hmm.
life, how I speak to people, the people that I surround in my orbit, but also the people that I interview, all of the things, right? And so that was a model that I used for the rest of my life is Jameer, keep living. Because that keep living means that you're going to experience a lot of different stuff. And those things are supposed to be building blocks of success, failures, challenges, awards received, no's, no answers, all of the things. But that is a part of what this, as entertainment media space that we are living in,
Hmm.
that is something that I knew that I signed up for. And that's the life that I'm living. But also, I had to keep living. So for you, it could be a motto. It could be something that, your mom, your family always talked about, but it was something that just kind of changed your life and approach to life. What was
Yes, I know what this is now.
that?
So my mother was a Christian, right? So that's what was poured into me. But so I'll say there was this one scripture that she always used to tell me. It was like Habakkuk. It's the one scripture about write the vision, make it plain, right? But in like eh, my relationship to God has shifted in such a way where like um it has become much more experiential for me.
Mm,
I don't necessarily need to find God in church. God is everywhere in
same.
everything,
Yep.
right? And I think that the relationship that I have with my mom now, it's a little different, and they're both at the center, God and my mother. Like I really feel like when I write down my dreams and my goals, when I write my vision
Hmm.
down, that's when shit really gets real.
Okay, that's when it really gets. Listen, I'll be up at 3 o'clock in the
Yes.
morning, like, oh, it's for real. Okay,
Yes.
okay, now we're serious. Okay, let's go. But yeah, yeah,
Writing that stuff
serious.
down and like what you're speaking over your life is
Yes.
what is going to come to you.
Well, you have to be
Um,
careful about what you say. I always say that
yes.
because my dad is super spiritual, but there's so many things that he always says. Be careful of what you actually say to the universe, to God, or whatever, because to your point from earlier, if you're not ready for these things that you spoke out into the Lord and the world and all, he like, all right, you ready? Oh, I'm not ready. Okay, so give me a moment. As we wrap our
Fumbled
show,
it.
as we wrap our show,
Yeah.
I think of just your body of work. I think of you in your heart and in your spirit and your mind and all of the things that your family, your mom has been able just to kind of peel off the layers of who they are to give to you. What do you want audiences, especially Black audience, to kind of feel after watching you and your work?
That I told the truth. That I elevated the room, that I
Hmm.
changed the atmosphere in the space, that I left the work deeper than I found it, that people truly saw themselves mirrored
Yeah.
in my black male body, black male presenting body. Like, doesn't matter how you identify, doesn't matter what
Yeah.
color you are,
Yep.
identity you are, that you saw yourself reflected in my work. And that in the work, that in the mirroring, that that your humanity is not a flaw. It's actually a beautiful masterpiece,
Yeah.
and it's not done. That I hope that my work is a mirror for people, a deep mirror of people, so people can actually feel seen. Yeah.
I love this question because you kind of started our conversation off with this, and I'm going to circle back to this. Michael, what is the season that you're stepping into right now, artistically, spiritually, and personally?
I'm stepping into a season of expansion.
Come on. He was like, listen, give me all the coins and all the rolls, y'all. Stop playing.
All of it. I'll take it
All
all.
of it. I'll take all of it.
Bigger stories, deeper characters, work that challenges me spiritually, and emotionally, TV, film, theater, all of it. They're all calling in different ways. And I actually really feel like from this point on that there is a transformational role on the horizon for me. Um, Something that matches the version of myself now and the one that's emerging right
Yeah.
now. Yeah, yeah,
The last question that I always ask everyone, you traveling the world as a child
yeah.
and having the experience of just world. I always think that it's amazing and also interesting when people are raised, in so many different states and countries and all of the things, because the beauty is you get to meet so many different people. But then the other piece of it is sometimes we don't feel like we have a home, right? There's no, I can be settled here because we're always moving. But you've had the opportunity to really kind of be blessed with that. You had the opportunity to have a mom that loves and supports you constantly and literally said, Michael, what are you doing? We acting, that's what we're doing. Okay, I got your back. Now, what are we gonna do next, right?
Yes, yeah.
But then also to see you really embody so many beautiful roles from the theater to film to voiceover to all of the things. Michael Rishawn, what do you want your legacy to be?
I don't really think about what I'm leaving behind. I don't think about legacy in that respect because I feel like inevitably the things that I'm doing, the opportunities that are being given to me are a part of my assignment, my mission down here. They're a part of my soul's calling.
Yep,
And inevitably those things end up becoming the
yep,
legacy, right?
yep.
But if I'm actively thinking about it, I the legacy that I want to leave behind is that people are truly catalyzed by my work, that
Mm,
they feel deeply seen, deeply mirrored. I mentioned this earlier, but like that that they feel seen, and that also like in my body as a black man, like I'm also rewriting the narrative and chipping away at what people think black men can be and do and
Mhm.
can become. Like I'm helping to add to the conversation of how deeply nuanced black men are, how deeply nuanced black gay men are, black queer men are, and like really adding another perspective. I'm helping to enlighten people that like people who look like me,
Mhm.
that we also deserve love. We also
Yeah,
deserve
yeah,
space, and the mic, and that you can also see yourself reflected in our humanity as well.
absolutely.
That's what my legacy is.
There we go.
Period.
Come
Yeah.
on. Any last words you want to leave with any of your new listeners, your new fans, your new people that have seen Table 17? When is the last show? All of the things.
Yeah, so
Any
Table 17 at the Geffen Playhouse, we're in LA till December 7th, so we have about a week left of shows. For those of you who've seen it, thank you so much for coming and supporting, and I'm so happy that it's resonating with people. As far as Michael Rishawn goes, you can catch my work at michaelrishawn.com. I'm also on IG at Michael Rishawn. And I have a few things on the horizon that are already developing. So,
Love it.
um, just super excited to continue to keep creating, to continue to keep living. And for those artists of any concentration, just continue on your path, do the work, move your feet as you're praying.
Yeah,
You got to do the work, but you also got to leave room for the universe to come in and create alongside you.
definitely
And be open to surprise, be open to not knowing, but also do the work. Do the work.
do the work. And
Yeah.
as Michael has said, consistently speak truth. I want to thank you for your work. I want to thank you for your heart. I want to thank you for just all of the things that you've been able to give all of us. I want everyone to make sure they support at giffenplayhouse.org. Get your tickets for the last week of Table 17. And I just want to thank you. Thank you for just everything. And as we always say on Power 97.5 LA, Power V 97.5 Vegas, iGlobal Media, and iHeartRadio, stay positive, but stay creative. Until next time, thank you guys for tuning in.
Jameer, thank you. Thank you so much, man.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Yeah. I